How long will the Indian summer last? When will it start? And how warm will it get? These are questions we're going to answer in today's podcast.
I can promise you the warm weather hasn't reached Lincolnshire yet. Either that or I have a microclimate in my front room. Well, hello and welcome to today's podcast from Square Raindrop. I'm Jo Wheeler.
And I'm Steff Galter. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
It all helps the algorithm. Now, we will get to the Indian summer in a minute, but we've just had a fairly tempestuous weekend. Now, that's a very literary phrase, but I could have said explosive cyclogenesis.
Yes, you could have done, or just a weather bomb, which is what the news and media like to call it these days. And it's when the pressure drops by 24 millibars in 24 hours, or at least 24 millibars. So that means the pressure's dropping, those winds are strengthening.
And this storm developed across the jet stream yet again, didn't it?
They generally do under the exits or entrances of the jet stream, where the winds above them suddenly pick up speed or suddenly ease off afterwards. That's where you get the sudden triggering to get what was rather an insipid area of rain into a massive, great big storm like Ashley.
Now, as you mentioned, we've only started to see these terms like weather bomb or snow bomb in the past few years. Did we not have them before, or did we just not call them that?
I think they were probably more common in the States. They do like these big terms in the States. They're only filtering across the pond, I think, around now, Jo. They just like different terms, ones that seem different, catchy, ones that get people's attention on social media. So that's why things like weather bomb or polar vortex sound really cool, because they sound a bit scary and different.
I'm starting to think you should star in your own cartoon here. Now, Ashley, first storm of the season begins with A, named by Met Ran. How bad was it?
We got wind, a gust of wind I saw, the maximum I saw was 82 miles an hour, and that was in northwest Wales, so very, very strong. And the winds were funneling up the Irish Sea, which is why it was so bad. Did you see the ferries, Jo? There was a couple of ferries. Whoa, I would not like to have been on those ferries.
I've only used the Irish Sea ferry once, and it was quite an experience, even on quite a relaxed sea. So I looked at that and thought, that's going to be unpleasant.
Yes, I was very glad I wasn't on a plane or a boat on that particular time, as our poor friend Jo was. Our other friend Jo, obviously not you. That'd be weird.
I know. Complete Joe below here. No, it's all right. She got back safely, which is really good news. Now, I made the mistake of trying to drive from Manchester back to Lincolnshire yesterday. I thought I could outrun the storm.
And did you?
But I did. No. Well, I did briefly, but about 40 minutes later, it caught up with me, and it really was quite bad driving.
There was some really ropey line convection. Line convection is just where, normally you get rain that increases and then decreases, and you see it quite nicely, but line convection is where there's just a line of really heavy rain coming along. And there was some really bad downpours out of this line convection. So you know that if you're driving along, everything is fine until suddenly you'd have hit this wall of water, and it would have been terrible driving conditions than that.
I think over the M62, it was more the strong winds. But I have to say, I wasn't expecting much from the journey. I've had an absolutely cataclysmic week. Where everything has gone wrong. I've got days and dates all over the place. And then two things that I need to tell you about. First of all, I arranged to go with a friend. I do have one. To go
and it wasn't me?
It wasn't you, too far away. But we were going to a big band evening. Somebody had given us tickets, and that was lovely. So quite unusually for Lincolnshire, we got dressed up, made up, all sorted. Got the animals, safely put away for the night, headed off. And when we arrived at the theatre, I said, it's looking a bit quiet.
No.
It's looking very quiet. And we'd gone to Louth, not Lincoln.
Oh, no. Not even got the wrong day, just the wrong place. Oh, what a disaster.
The wrong place. And the second bit I have to tell you, which actually is very funny, I had to give evidence in court earlier this week, which is going to be stressful at any, time of day or night. But the unfortunate thing is I'm short-sighted. And so when they came to call for me, the prosecuting lawyer came out and he talked to me across a room that was, to be honest, very, very crowded and quite noisy. And so I said to him, I'm really sorry, I can't hear you without my glasses. Right? And then when we got into the court, when he comes to stand up, he said, excuse me, my lord, I'm going to have to stand to the side, he said, because Miss Wheeler can't hear me unless you can see my lips moving. And of course, that triggered everybody else in the court to start talking to me like this, as if I was lip reading all the time, and I wasn't. It was just because it was noisy outside. But I'm thinking, I'm just not going to say anything. So it was a very funny end of the day.
My main disaster of the week was deciding that I was so ill, I better take a COVID test just to check. And actually, the only reason I really did it is because we still had some leftover COVID tests in the cupboard, and I thought they're not going to get used otherwise. So I pulled one out. It said expired January 2024, but I was like, meh, easy come, easy go. We'll give it a go. It's got to fulfill its lifelong destiny of being a COVID test after all. So I put this thing up my nose and at the back of my throat and all the rest. And then after a while, as I tried to put it in the thing and squeeze it out, I realised that I put the wrong end up my nose. They were both furry, like in my defence. Felipe, my other half, was in the room at the time, and I went, oh, wrong end. And he was like, how?
Well, sometimes when you're concentrating on the weather, other things just slide. It's as simple as that.
Indeed, they do. Have you noticed, actually, outside, not quite as vibrant the colours of autumn this year?
Only with my glasses on.
Oh, clearly. Are the leaves lip reading as well?
There they are. Oddly enough, it wasn't until yesterday when I saw most of the leaves on the ground as opposed to in the trees. That I thought, oh, some of the trees have kind of turned, but no, not the usual glorious colour change that we expect. Why is that then?
There are several things that interrupt the colour of the leaves. So one of them is whether it's sunny, which I don't know about you, Joe, but we've been in short supply in the sunshine department over the past few months. Or it certainly seems that way anyway. So if there's a little bit, obviously the green disappears, the chlorophyll in the autumn goes, and that's why you see the different colours. The colours are there all the time, but they're just masked by the green colour of the leaves. So once the green colour is sort of switched off, you get to see the other colours. But if there's a little bit of chlorophyll still left in the leaf, then with a bit of sunshine, that still changes to colours and becomes a slightly more reddy colour. Now, because we haven't had a great deal of sunshine, we haven't had that extra dose of reddy colour. Also, if it's been really cold at night, so if there's been a frost overnight, the colours will change a yellowier colour. Whereas if the temperatures have been above freezing during the night, they'll generally stay a little bit more redder, a rouge, if you will. Also, whether it's dry or not, if it's been quite dry, the sugars will be quite concentrated in the leaves, and then you'll get redder colours again. And again, not been terribly dry, has it, Joe? And as you pointed out, it's been a bit windy over the last 24 hours, so any leaves that were hanging on, trying to give us a little bit of a display, have given up and just jumped to the ground.
Indeed so. And from what you said earlier in the podcast, and it's usually me that's looking into the crystal ball, you're talking about an Indian summer. Now, to the best of my knowledge, it's not happening this week. I know what's happening this week.
No, not this week. But come to the weekend and you'll start to see things turning a little bit more settled. Now, at the moment, because yes, we are quite a long way off and I don't like too much crystal ball gazing, but what we're saying is it looks like, and there's been a more increased promise, shall we say, from the models. They've been quite keen on this for the last few runs, and they're quite keen on the fact that come the end of October and beginning of November, there will be a dry spell, particularly in the south and the southeast, and it could well turn out to be an Indian summer. So an Indian summer generally is slightly warmer, I think we'd agree. So we're looking at slightly above average temperatures, and the main thing, settled, and hopefully with a bit of sunshine.
Very nice. Damn it. I'm going to have to do my lawn. I've managed to avoid it for so long. In fact, now my lawnmower is disappearing under this growing grass around it. I keep thinking, it's all right, it'll be cold shortly and it'll all change. Now, even though we're looking forward to this dry, sunny weather, which doubtless is going to have overnight frost and fog, maybe? I mean, that tends to go hand in hand at this time of year.
Often hand in hand, mist, fog particularly, yes. And with clear skies, any excuse to get below average really at night, isn't there?
So I think with the weather, this is a deliberate attempt to obfuscate. So we've gone through this summer where we've seen virtually no sunshine and it's rained on us all the time. And literally next weekend, as the clocks go back, it's going to start looking like summer.
The weird thing though, Jo, is, and don't tell the weather this because I'm sure it'll change, it's half term for us next week. And for many parts of England and Wales, it's half term. But the weather looks good. Don't tell anyone.